litigation. We're gonna transfer the power to another.
I think we can convene to closed session.
Yeah. So we're gonna convene to a closed session. Let's, should I do this one as well? The city council will recess to closed session to confer with its attorney regarding litigation pursuant to government code section 54956.9. B4, deciding whether to initiate the litigation. And we're gonna move on to closed session. It will be about half an hour. We're gonna come back to this.
Give me a moment and then we can get started. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for your patience as we're coming back from our closed session, and I will turn it over to our city attorney to report out on our closed session item for today. We had one closed session item.
Yes, and on that item, council discussed, a matter of potentially initiating litigation, gave direction to its legal counsel, and no other reportable action was taken.
Okay, so at this time, if you can please join me in standing and as we do the pledge of allegiance, and if I can have, Councilwoman Manuel, if you can lead us in the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We will move on to additions and modifications to the agenda. So at this time, do we have any additions or modifications to the agenda? Megan, do we have any additions or modifications?
No, we do not.
Okay, so we have no additions or modifications. So we move on to our next item, which is public comments. So at this time, any member of the public may address the city council on items not appearing on the agenda, but that are of interest and within the jurisdiction of the city council. So speakers do have 3 minutes. If you can please be brief and to the point. So just as a reminder for our public comments, if you want to make public comments, we're going to take public comments for those that are joining us here in our chambers, and then we'll take it out to those that are joining us via Zoom. You do have 3 minutes, and we do ask the public and the council both to please maintain the quorum during the public comment period. And just for as a reminder to the public as well, during the public comment period, the council will not provide comments. So this is a time when we hear the public comments, but we don't provide any feedback to the public. We can direct our staff to look further into an issue, but we won't provide any public feedback. Just because it's not an item that's agendized and we don't want to break any of the rules that we have. And just when you're making public comments as well, please refrain from making any personal attacks or derogatory comments. We want to hear from everybody, but we want to make sure that we are making comments and we're not we're being respectful of others as well. Okay, so with that, I will open it up for public comments, and if anyone has public comments, if you can please join us here at the podium.
Hi, everyone, and good evening. My name is Veronica Zavala, and I am here today in relation to the KSBW article that was published last week. It is important to me to share my story with Soledad City Council and clarify some key inaccuracies of this article. I grew up in Soledad to immigrant parents who came to the US to work the fields. I went to college on a need-based and merit scholarship, working odd jobs to receive an education. When I started my career, I knew that I wanted to invest in Soledad, my community. Growing up, I remember city leaders saying, go to college and then come back and serve your community. I went to college and I came back to invest in my hometown, my community. I understand the emotional value these businesses hold for the community and the frustration of rising rents, but the reality is that owning commercial property on this strip is expensive. And I wouldn't have been able to cover even 1/3 of my expenses without raising rents to fair market value amounts. These were 30-year leases. The previous owner inherited this property that her family had purchased 100 years ago in 1928. I purchased it in 2024 at a considerable larger purchase price amount. To purchase this property, I had to take a hard money loan with an 11% interest rate. This loan will all become due in 1 year if I did not raise the rents to fair market value and refinance. On top of a hefty mortgage payment, there's equity, there's earthquake, property, liability, and fire insurance policies. And then you have property taxes. These are 100-year-old buildings that require many upgrades. For instance, immediately following the purchase, the city required the installation of backflow water preventers. I also painted these buildings and resolved other maintenance issues, and I still have a list of other renovation expenses like earthquake retrofitting. The financial reality of owning a commercial property on Front Street means any new owner would have faced the same rent adjustments. And new owners that have purchased commercial properties in Soledad in recent years have increased rents. I am not the first one to do so. There were a couple of key inaccuracies from the article that I wanted to clarify. One, before this article was published, Mari, the hair salon tenant, and her sister had planned to stay and share space with the new tenant. That arrangement fell through as a result of this publication. And two, the ice cream tenant had purchased their own commercial property in December 2024 per public records. I've been working hard on weekends to beautify these buildings. And I believe I am the first Mexican woman to buy, not inherit, a commercial property in Soledad's Front Street, and also the first to receive this type of backlash, even though other property owners have done the same. I am not a greedy landlord, like this article paints me out to be.
Thank you, Veronica. Thank you. You have other public comments?
Sí, buenas noches. Mi nombre es César Flores.
Buenas noches. And before, we do have a translator. So tenemos traducciones. Yeah.
Your timeline in case Beatrice is the backup, she's making notes.
Okay, perfect. Translation in English. Okay. Sorry about that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Es mejor en español. Puedo hablar en inglés, pero mejor en español.
Yeah, no, más quería asegurar que teníamos la persona que está haciendo las traducciones.
Okay.
Ya. Pueden perdón.
Ok, mi nombre es César Flores. Soy el propietario de la food truck El Buen Gusto. La razón por la que estoy aquí, el día de ayer se presentó el policía Philip Zelaya, el cual dijo que fue mandado por la ciudad para notificarme que cada persona que debe estar dentro de la food truck debe tener el permiso de la ciudad, lo cual a mi parecer es ilógico. Me puse a revisar las reglas de la ciudad. No menciona nada acerca de eso, en primera. En segunda, como dueño yo tengo los permisos del Health Department, tengo el permiso de la ciudad, ya que se supone que yo soy la persona responsable. Y él dijo que la ciudad dijo que cada persona que trabaje debe tener uno. Entonces eso es ilógico, en primera, porque tenemos muchos negocios en Soledad, en el cual va la gente únicamente a pedir trabajo por un día, por dos, y es incomprensible que por un día, dos, una semana, hay que mandarlos a la ciudad a que ellos saquen su permiso primero, cuando ellos únicamente son trabajadores. Entonces, yo no lo vi eso en las leyes, tal vez lo pueda checar el abogado. Quiero saber quién es la persona responsable con la que me puedo dirigir para ese asunto y arreglarlo, porque no es común eso. Somos mucha gente que trabajamos aquí y no es común, ¿no? En primera. En segunda, otro asunto que está aquí es el del restaurante El Pariente. En diciembre, cuando se pusieron los vendedores ambulantes, fui con Alma y le dije, me dijo que ya no podía hacer nada, que porque estaban fuera de la ciudad. Prostitución en la entrada. Entonces le dije sobre el restaurante El Pariente, el cual está cerrado, está en la Front y en la Oak Street, y siguen vendiendo tacos ahí, viernes, sábado y domingo, y ella dijo que eso no estaba permitido porque es Open Flame, y sí, efectivamente lo tienen ustedes en sus reglas de la ciudad, no han hecho nada hasta el momento. Entonces, no veo por qué es la forma de los pequeños negocios, en vez de que nos apoyen, nos quieran hacer más gastos. Entonces, quiero saber quién es la persona que se encarga de eso, para que me explique dónde dice que sí deben de tener todos los que atienden a los clientes. Porque tenemos negocios como Pacheco, que tiene mucha gente, no creo que toda esa gente tenga sus permisos. Nopalito, hay mucha gente que nomás va a trabajar espontáneamente y ellos no son los principales vendedores del negocio. Entonces, me gustaría saber con quién puedo dirigirme ya que termine la...
Muchas gracias, señor César. Tenemos a Beatriz está aquí, si puede tomar los datos de usted o uno de nuestros personal de la ciudad para que puedan comunicarse con usted.
Sí, muchas gracias.
Okay. O Ariana está aquí también.
Yeah, no, if you wanted to allow the translator to.
Okay, so do we have the translator to be able to translate to English?
We
I
do,
thought it was online.
yeah. We need it here.
Will she do it? Will she be able to? Oh, she's raising her hand. Can you do the translation, please? Can you unmute? Can you unmute? She's on here. It's time to be posted on the channel. She needs to be posted on the channel. Yeah.
I do not, so I'll do it. So good afternoon. My name is Cesar Flores, and I'm the owner of one of the food trucks in town. Yesterday, Officer Zelaya showed up to my business, and he was notifying us that every person who's working at the food truck should have some type of authorization from the city. As the owner, I hold a permit from the health department, and I have my business license. But for me, it's not reasonable to ask that every person that is at the food truck has some type of city authorization or sometimes some type of license, because sometimes people only last a few days in the employment. So to me, that's unfair or to me, that's not reasonable. So I would like to know who I need to contact in order to get more details, because I reviewed the city policy. I went online and I tried to see where this regulation is coming from, and I wasn't able to locate any information online, at least. Not that it was nothing specific to every person having to have a city authorization to operate in the food truck. I also, that was the first thing. And then second, I know that there is a restaurant, Restaurante El Pariente, that is on Front Street and Oak Street. They have a vendor outside that is been selling Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I don't know that they have authorization or not, because the restaurant is closed, but there is somebody selling outside the restaurant. I also went to the city and I reported to Alma one of a vendor that was selling on a food truck, but they said that there was nothing that they could do because they were selling outside of the city limits. So to me, it feels that it's unfair that small businesses are getting over-regulated, or that we are getting imposed all these extra regulations when there are other people that are selling on the streets unpermitted, or that are not being regulated by the city because they're out of city limits.
Thank you. Do we have any? Do we have anyone else? Any other public comments, otros comentarios públicos? Okay, then I will take it out to those that are joining us via Zoom. Are there any, anyone that's joining us via Zoom who would like to make a public comment? If you can please raise your hand so we can recognize you and you can unmute. Again, this is the second call for those that are joining us via Zoom. If anyone would like to make a public comment, this is the time. If you could please raise your hand, we can unmute you. Okay, so I'm gonna close the public comment, seeing that there is no hands raised. I'll close the public comment at this time. And I will move on to our next item of business, which is council presentations.
Through the chair, I held, you pinged me about modifications and we are holding off on number 3 tonight, that will be presented, at a celebration.
Yes, but I will be saying a few words regarding that.
Okay.
Okay, so I will do number 3 for remarks only by Councilmember Sandra Sanchez. Okay. Okay, and then I will have, so we'll start with proclamation number 1, proclamation of the City Council of the City of Soledad in honor and recognition of the legacy of the civil rights and labor leader Cesar Chavez. Let me just ask you on number 2 though, because I thought we were doing that next week, next month, when we have the celebration.
You know about that, Beatrice?
I thought we were doing that as part of the proclamation when we had our celebration on April 5th at the park at Cesar Chavez, so we're gonna present the proclamation at that time as well. That was the discussion during the last council meeting.
No, I think the discussion at the last council meeting was that today was gonna be the proclamation. And then their event is the same day that we have the strategic planning. So we were gonna build time on our agenda from the strategic planning session to go to the event. That's how I understood.
Okay, I have it in my notes, maybe I wrote it incorrectly, but I thought we were gonna present it.
Oh, okay, my understanding was different, I'm sorry.
Well, that's fine, we can go ahead and move forward and present it here, but it would be nice to have presented it there, since we're gonna have the businesses out there. And a lot of the vendors, but we can do it here and then we can do it there as well. Okay, so I'll move forward with the proclamation of the City Council of the City of Soledad celebrating Cesar Chavez Day. And I would be honored to read this as my father is a farm worker. And he was part of the United Farm Workers, which is part of Cesar Chavez, and he was part also of the Salinas Lettuce strikes of the 1970s, and I know many of our families here in the valley were part of. Where Cesar Estrada Chavez, a champion of workers' rights, dedicated his life to fight for fair wages, humane working conditions, and dignity for farm workers and laborers across the United States. And whereas born on March 31st, 1927, Chavez understood firsthand the struggles of those toiling in the fields and organized with resilience and unwavering commitment, co-founding the United Farm Workers. And whereas through nonviolent resistance, strikes, boycotts, and peaceful demonstrations, Chavez embodied the values of perseverance, unity, and service to others, inspiring a movement that continues to shape labor rights and civil rights to this day. And whereas his rallying cry of "Si se puede," yes, it can be done, remains a guiding principle for those who seek justice, equality, and opportunity for all, reminding us that collective action and solidarity can bring about lasting change. And whereas Chavez's legacy is a testament to the power of courage, sacrifice, and the unwavering belief in human dignity and his contributions, and recognized across the nation as we strive to build a more just and equitable society. And whereas the impact of Chavez's legacy in Monterey County is still felt today, with many youth continuing the traditions of working to make the community a better place. Now therefore, let it be proclaimed by the City Council of the City of Soledad, hereby proclaims March 31st as Cesar Chavez Day. We encourage all citizens to engage in meaningful conversations and educational and volunteer activities that honor Cesar Chavez's legacy and promote a more inclusive and equitable future for all. So we wanted to make sure that we recognize this day. I know we're a little bit early because it's still not the day, but since we are meeting today, and we won't be meeting until next month, we wanted to make sure that we present this proclamation. And I just want to make sure that I present this on behalf of the City Council to all of our farm worker families that live in the City of Soledad and also in our region in South Monterey County. As Monterey County, the economic engine of Monterey County is still agriculture. So many of our families still work in toilet fields, and it's As we know, they are the ones that put the food on our tables, not just for us, but for the world. So we thank our farm worker families, we thank Cesar Chavez for his dedication also to ensure that our farm workers had a better quality of life and that they fought for their rights, and we continue to struggle, the struggle continues to defend our immigrants and defend our farm workers. So with that, I want to say thank you to all of our families. Si se puede, gracias, yes, we can. And so we'll find one of our families to present this to. And for the city of Soledad, just so we know, we actually do have, it's pretty symbolic that our park downtown is Cesar Chavez, so there is a memorial, a monument, in our park to recognize the significance of the contributions of our farm workers to our community as well. So with this, I will turn this over to Mayor Pro Tem to see if he wants to read this proclamation, our next proclamation.
Yes, thank you. A proclamation of the city of the City Council of the City of Soledad honoring the Small Business Development Center Day. Whereas small business are the backbone of the American economy, fostering innovation, creating jobs, and strengthening local communities. And whereas the Small Business Development Center provides invaluable resources, expert guidance, and hands-on assistance to entrepreneurs and small business owners in every state and US territory, helping to create an average of one new business every 38 minutes. And whereas the Central Coast SBDC has supported several small businesses in Soledad and across Monterey and San Benito counties, from startups to expansion, through services such as business planning, financial consulting, marketing strategies, educational workshops, and business resources. And whereas the dedication and commitment of the DCs empower local business to thrive, drive the economic growth and stability in Soledad and across the nation. And whereas SBDC has demonstrated to be a vital resource to local economies, creating 83,329 new jobs, driving 6.2 billion in financing for small businesses. And whereas the National Small Business Development Center Day is an opportunity to recognize and celebrate the contributions of nearly 1,000 SBDC centers and the success of small businesses they assist. Now, therefore, let it be proclaimed by the City Council of the City of Soledad that March 19, 2025 is National Small Business Development Center Day. We encourage all citizens, business leaders, and community members to acknowledge the vital role SBDC played in our community. Thank you so much. So much work that you guys do for our communities.
Thank you. So let's give a big hand to all of our. And we will, so there is, I know that we'll be sharing with more information, but the city will be having a celebration on Front Street on April 5th, Saturday, April 5th, to recognize our small businesses, our Small Business Development Day. So we want to make sure that you come, you join us as we support our small businesses, and we make sure that we are a community that supports our small businesses, and we want to make sure that they thrive, because if they thrive, our community thrives as a whole. So thank you.
And I think someone from SBDC is on.
Oh, okay.
It's Jesus.
Oh, yes, Jesus. Thank you for having your hand up. So if you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Awesome, perfect. I'm so sorry that I don't have my camera on it. I've been having technical issues. I would have loved to have been there to receive the proclamation in person, but I just wanted to quickly say that I am very happy with the SBDC and the work that the City of Soledad we do together for Soledad. Like mentioned, we do have the SBDC Day event on April 5th. Everyone is invited to come and see what it's all about. That day specifically, not just because it's SBDC Day, is special because it is the first SBDC Day that the Central Coast SBDC is having, and we chose to have it in Soledad because of such our strong partnership with the city. So I just want to say thank you to all the City Council for this proclamation, and we hope to see you all there.
Thank you, Jesus. Okay, thank you. So with that, council, then we will move on to our consent calendar. Oh, I think. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for the reminder. So I will turn this over now to remarks by Councilmember Alzado Sanchez. We don't have a proclamation, and it's a proclamation of the City Council of the City of Soledad recognizing March 31st, 2025 as Transgender Day of Visibility, which will be presented at an event that Councilmember Alzado Sanchez will be attending on behalf of the City Council, but I will turn it over to him to say a few remarks.
Yes, we will be presenting, I will be presenting the proclamation on March 30th at Central Park in Salinas. The Salinas Valley Pride celebrations, folks, I'm a part of, will be hosting a Transgender Day of Visibility event open to all folks and allies that are interested in the event. It's a Paint in the Park event, so anybody that is interested in just spending a couple of hours painting, being in the community, you are more than welcome to attend. That will be on March 30th from 12 to 2 p.m. at Central Park in Salinas. Hopefully the city can post about it as well. Not to give direction, but just in case.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well.
awesome, great. So good evening, everyone. The City of Soledad will be recognizing Monday, March 31st as Trans Day of Visibility, a day dedicated to honoring the courage, resilience, and contributions of transgender and non-binary individuals in our community and around the world. This is a day to uplift voices, share stories, and acknowledge the struggles and triumphs of those who have fought to be seen, respected, and valued for who they truly are. Visibility is powerful. It is the act of stepping forward and claiming space. It is about being unapologetically oneself in a role that often fails to understand, support, or even acknowledge the identities of transgender people. But Trans Day of Visibility is more than just recognition. It is a call to action. It is a call to create a society where transgender people are not only seen, but also celebrated. A society where healthcare, education, employment, and safety are rights, not privileges. A society where young trans people grow up knowing that their identity is valid, their dreams are achievable, and their lives matter. Unfortunately, we are in unprecedented times where the trans community is under attack, and they are under attack by our government. As the transgender community strives for inclusion, there are still barriers in place, even in our branches of government. Last Tuesday, during a congressional hearing, U.S. Representative Pete Self abruptly adjourned a congressional hearing after being confronted by U.S. Representative Bill Keating for misgendering U.S. Representative Sarah McBride, the first openly transgender member of Congress. Representative Self referred to Congresswoman Sarah McBride as Mr. McBride, a direct act of violence. Allies like Representative Keating are needed, as the fight for transgender rights is a fight we should all be a part of. While we acknowledge barriers like discrimination, violence, and misinformation still exist, we must also recognize the incredible strength within the trans community. Trans individuals are artists, activists, educators, leaders, and pioneers. They are breaking barriers, making history, and reshaping the world into one that is more inclusive and just. To the trans community, you are loved, you are valued, and you deserve every opportunity to live openly and authentically. Your visibility changes lives. And to our allies, visibility is not just about standing beside trans people on one day. It is about showing up every day. It is about advocacy and using your voice to amplify and protect trans rights. Real allyship means challenging discrimination, like Congressman Keating did, wherever it appears, and ensuring that every space is a safe space for all identities. So on March 31st, I invite you all to celebrate. We must honor the past, embrace the present, and fight for a future where trans people are not just visible, but free to be who they are without fear. Thank you, and let's remember to celebrate Trans Day of Visibility.
Thank you, Councilmember Alzado Sanchez, for those remarks, for reminding us that the impacts of the some of the discriminatory behavior that's happening at this moment, right, with many of our different populations and transgender, population as well, so thank you. Okay, so with that, council, then we will move on to our consent calendar. So today we have 7 items on our consent calendar. And then we take it out to our public first to see if there's any members of the public that wish to pull an item from the consent calendar for discussion or comment. So I will ask those that are joining us here in our chambers. Okay, if not, hearing no one, then I will take it out to those that are joining us via Zoom. If there's anyone that would like to pull an item from the consent calendar, today we have 7 items for further discussion or comment.
Number 3.
Hold on, I'm taking it out to those that are joining us via Zoom. Okay, so see no hands raised from those that are joining us via Zoom, then I will bring it to the council. And so Mayor Pro Tem, Councilmember 3, item 3, number 3, okay? Any other council members?
Number 4.
Number 4. Okay, and I have just 5 and 6 for comments.
The same as well, comments.
Okay,
I'd like to pull number 7.
Just a cool one too.
okay, so with that, then I'll entertain a motion then to approve items 1 and 2.
So,
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor by Councilmember Carlos Sanchez and second by Councilwoman Veneros. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so motion carries. So I'll start with item 3 and I'll turn it over to Mayor Pro Tem Cabrera.
Okay, for this one, I only want, if it's possible that the leaders campesinos can address a little bit about what that celebration. I'm going to read it in Spanish. Me gustaría sacar esto para darle la oportunidad a líderes campesinos que puedan expresar por qué están, cuál es la celebración y cuál es el significado para nuestras familias. La importancia del día, la importancia de la celebración.
Y si tenemos 3 minutos.
Lo voy a decir en español. Buenas tardes a todos. Gracias por darnos la oportunidad de estar aquí. Y sí, el evento del Día del Niño para nosotros particularmente es un evento cívico-cultural de nuestra organización y queremos dar ahorita esa celebración de nuestros niños, ya que estamos teniendo retos sobre salud mental y son grandes retos en nuestras escuelas. Queremos que ellos se sientan especiales, que sepan que la comunidad también celebra su día, pero nosotros también queremos celebrar en familia, tener actividades para ellos y sobre todo que la comunidad encuentre ese espacio que hemos visto que necesitamos ahorita, ¿verdad? Concientizar de que nuestros niños nos necesitan también. Necesitamos inspirarlos y necesitamos motivarlos que también colaboren con nosotros. Tenemos jóvenes también en nuestro comité, entonces queremos también que vengan más jóvenes a apoyar, que incluyamos a toda la comunidad a celebrar este evento tan significativo para nosotros. Y queremos colaborar con ustedes y la comunidad completa, ¿verdad? Que quiera venir a apoyarnos. Pero sí, en realidad es un evento significativo y también educativo. Tenemos ahorita, viene nuestra campaña de acoso sexual. Y vamos a llevar esta concientización también a nuestros padres para que estemos atentos, ¿verdad? Que esto pasa esta campaña de acoso y asalto sexual es muy común. No se habla en nuestra comunidad, pero se tiene que llevar a esta concientización que también pasa en nuestros niños. Y pues es un honor estar aquí y pues ese es el motivo principal de celebrar en comunidad con nuestras familias, con nuestros niños, darles el amor en actividades y recursos también que tenemos. Entonces agradecemos la oportunidad de poder colaborar juntos. Gracias.
Gracias. And we do have the translator. We're working on the translator. Yeah.
Can I add a comment or should I wait?
Let's wait till they do the translation before.
I'm sorry, I didn't take very good notes this time, so this is my memory. So good evening, everyone. So Day of the Child is an important event for our Latino community. We celebrate kids and the joy that they should be experiencing as kids. So for this event, it's not only a meaningful event for kids, but it's also educational. We will be having resource tables, not only for kids, but also for parents. So it's a family event and people are welcome to attend. That's all I can remember. So if I missed something else that somebody else remembers.
Thank you. They'll be having resources, also a lot of educational resources for families with domestic violence or sexual assault. And I know that's part of a lot of the education component. And given that there's really high stress among our teens and our children right now with a lot of what's happening at the federal level, it's a really important time to be able to celebrate in community with families and with our children. And so this is kind of part of the meeting of the event. Thank you.
Puedo añadir algo bien importante.
So,
Ahorita que termine.
yeah. Ya terminamos, so yeah.
Okay.
So we'll come back to the council,
So, one of the reasons that when leaders come to us to speak is because this celebration, like Maria said, is not just a civic and a cultural celebration, it's a celebration among families. For those of us who live or who grew up with this celebration since we were little, it is very important because it tells not only the family but the community that we should pay attention to the most valuable treasure that we have. That is our kids. Everything that is related to our families has to do with our kids, and making sure that they participate in their celebration is something that inspires other people to do the same. I want the community to know and understand that this is not just for Líderes Campesinas. This is Líderes Campesinas offering a celebration for all the kids in the area, and it is very important because it significantly addresses the importance of kids. And like Maria said, there are a lot of kids with mental health issues. Even if you don't believe it, there's a lot of kids with hunger, suffering of other things that are happening around them, suffering from homelessness, poverty, there's a lot of stress and anxiety in them. So please come and join this celebration, and let's focus a lot on our kids and our families. And thank you so much for every year putting this together and making sure that our kids get a little bit of a celebration.
Thank you, muchas gracias. Okay, so we'll move on to our next item on our agenda, which is item 4, and that was pulled by Councilwoman Benoist.
Yes, so just a comment, and if, Val can maybe echo the Veterans Park recycled water irrigation, you know, I'm excited because, please correct me, Don, if I'm correct, that we're one of the first cities to use recycled water, and if you can, you know, for public, if you could explain the importance of recycled water.
So yes, Veterans Park is going to be our pilot recycled water project. The water reclamation facility was built in 2010 to treat to the standards so that we could use it for reclaimed water. We built the pipeline in 2019. We've now converted our first park as our pilot project, and within the next year, we should actually be utilizing recycled water at Veterans Park, our pilot project. In addition, in April or in May, we'll break ground with our citywide recycled water distribution system. That's 5.5 miles of pipes to all our other parks and several school district facilities. So yes, Soledad will be the first one using recycled water at parks and schools in like the Tri-County area. And fortunately, we received a $16.6 million grant from the state to construct this system. So yes, it's a big event. Happy we've finally got our pilot park project completed.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, so we'll move on to item 5 and 6. Those are the ones that I have pulled. So item 5 is the approving the in-kind services and approving the street closure for the city of Soledad between Front Street and Monterey Street for the annual Soledad Historical Farmers Market. And I don't necessarily have questions in terms of, I know this is something we've been doing for many years. But my question was in reference to, I know that you've been, Patricio and Ariana, you guys been working with the Historical Soledad Historical Society that usually is the one that puts this together. I know one of some of the issues that we've been working the last couple of years has been to really get more people to the museum to be able to make sure that they raise funds. I did have 2 questions. One is in terms of the in-kind services, I think that we've been, as a council, just wanting to make sure that when we have these kind of sponsorships, that we have more information included in the report for just our community to be able to know how much it costs for us when we do these partnerships. And obviously they're really important, but also some of the costs that we incur in terms of the in-kind services for the city. So to be able to add a little bit more substance in terms of what is the, you know, sometimes I know we can't measure like, you know, hard costs, but at least an approximate number of what is the cost to the services. And I think we said this to be important because then we can share with our community. It's not just what we expend in our general fund budget and our events with recreation, but all these other sponsorships that we do with the farmers market, with Líderes Campesinas, right? With some of these other events as well, that I think it's important for us to be able to share that with our community in terms of, you know, our dollar numbers as well. So we can have that. And then the other thing I just wanted to know, because I know I had talked to Mr. Stevens about this, but there was an opportunity for them to work with the Blue Zones to be able to bring more to be able to bring more access to fresh fruits and vegetables as part of a program that's called the Double Up Food Box that would provide more access to our families that have some of the resources or that have CalFresh that participate in our CalFresh programs. And I was really interested because they said that they can work with them to have like the EBTs and the market match But we have over like 3,100 South County participants. I mean, and that would really make a significant impact to our farmers market and to support the access to fresh fruits and vegetables, but also bring more business, and, you know, more dollars in for them as well. So do you know if they actually did anything with that?
I do not. The services that we provide for the temporary use permit is just the application and filing on that end. We can provide this information back to Mr. Stevens and maybe see how we can provide more information or connection from Blue Zone for him to collaborate with the Venezuela between the Soledad Historical Society and on the farmers market.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to make a public statement on that, because I think it's important that we support them, but I also think these opportunities that come to our city don't always come. I know they've been waiting for a while, they've been working with Watsonville, and now they came to us, and I think it's important for us to also be able to consider them when they come knocking at our door.
Yeah.
No, so thank you. Okay. So on the next one, which is, resolution.
I'm sorry, oh no, to the chair, can I just add a comment to yours as well, if I may, because I also spoke fine. Also, I want to just kind of echo what Mayor Velasquez had mentioned, but the importance of why we do the Soledad Discourse Farmers Market is to also raise funds for the Historical Society. And I just wanted to advocate, you know, continue to come and support, you know, not just the vendors, but also the Historical Society, and come out, you know, with and see the museum, because that's when the museum is open. And if you want to have a special trip, you can contact Mr. Stevens also, and you can do it, you know, a private visit, you know, because it is open. And we did attend the 150 Years of Education Museum this past weekend. And I would love to have more of our residents come and visit, you know, because it's more on social media than anything else, but also the word of mouth. So, you know, we all work, you know, we have our plans, but, you know, continue to support our Historical Society, because we, you know, as she mentioned, we want it to grow. Thank you.
And just for a little clarity regarding the fees for the farmers market, there's little to no, we've added the in-kind services in case it's needed. But for the most part, the Historical Society coordinates the street closure with their own barricades, or if something is needed, they'll coordinate with public works, but it's very minimal. That's probably one of the few that is minimal, but I'll coordinate with the fees for future temporary use permits as well.
Thank you, and I would like to look at the council this year, if we can have a table out there and we can coordinate that to be able to make sure that we share information with our residents, because a lot of residents do participate in our market, which is good. So if we can have a table out there, I think that would be great.
Okay.
Thank you, Ariana. And on number 6 for me is the resolution of the City Council of the City of Soledad approving amendment number 2 to extend the term of the 2045 general plan update for place works to December of 2026. Just a couple of clarifying questions for me. I know we've been working on this. Obviously, this is important to our community because it's updating our general plan. I just have a question though, in terms of the finalization of our general plan. So that's extending now until 2026. So it was a 2-year contract that we had with them. There was a certain scope of work that they were gonna continue. There was remaining funds in 504-871. So there were remaining funds because they didn't complete the work, or because they completed the work and we needing for them to finish the work.
No, so it's the remaining of the total contracted price of the entire project, so we still haven't spent that money yet. A lot has to do with that, staff probably took over a few more tasks and more outreach, workshops that were not anticipated in their original contract. So I think that's where the big difference, and with the timing as well. So we did take about, I believe, 2 months for the land use alternatives. We did a lot of research, extensive outreach to the community that made the contract a little longer, but we haven't used those funds within that initial term.
So when, what is the completion date then for the general plan? Is it in January of 2026?
Yes, it's, right now it's scheduled to be adopted by January 2026. So the next, few phases of the general plan will be coming to council towards the end of the year. For the EIR certification and, draft of the general plan as well.
Okay, so we're almost there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're getting there. But, through the chair, just having, done many general plans in my life and career, it's important to make sure that the community is on board, so that's why we're giving ourselves some wiggle room, because, you know, sometimes you have to take a pause, you move forward, you think everyone's on board, and not quite, and so you have to bring the public along, so we're just building in some extra time. That's why we're extending the contract till the end of 2026, just to ensure that there's buy-in, because it's not just city plan, it's gotta be, you know, everyone's plan. It's much more effective if everyone is moving in the same direction to accomplish it, because we have a lot of stakeholders and even residents by simply, you know, caring about their property and doing the right thing implements the general plan, so.
Okay, so that's when we still have the vision and values, which I thought we already had done, but we're just kind of hearing back out to make sure our community understands.
Not the vision and values so much, but we have all of that like content where we get into the nitty gritty about like traffic improvements and land uses and things like that. We need to make sure that folks are on board.
Yeah, I think we're reaching the policy phase where we're, finalizing the land use maps. And then that will influence a lot of the policies that will be coming forward.
Well, thank you for the clarification. Okay, then I will turn it over to Councilmember Caldera for number 7.
I pulled that item, I just wanted some clarification for the members of the public and our constituents. What is biosolids and what does this additional cost entail?
Sure, so we have, Soledad happens to have a water reclamation facility, the other South County have, cities have a wastewater treatment plant. Basically, what we all do is the 3 million gallons of effluent that comes down the sewer pipes every day, we separate it into water and solids. 3 million gallons of water and about 2 or 3 tons of solids we pull out every day. And then we have to dispose of it, de-water it and dispose of it. So that's the contract before you tonight is the contract to haul it to a certified landfill that can legally dispose of it. And then their tipping fees and gate fees and things like that. We had a really good relationship with Salinas Valley Solid Waste Authority. They would take it as alternative daily cover and gave us a significant discount, but the state tightened up their own regulations and prevents that. So us and the other cities are constantly searching for the best deal in trucking and solids disposal to ideally beneficially reuse it. Some of them will create soil amendments with it and things like that. But the best price and the best deal we have right now is the one with Holloway to take it and put it in an old mine as backfill for when they mine. So basically, it's all the solids we pull out of the wastewater, leaving the clean water. Soledad does it 3 times, 3 levels, tertiary treatment. So we get really clean water that goes back into the aquifer. And then again, the 2 to 3 tons of solids we remove today or per day has to be hauled away. We can't let it just sit there because it gets wet and gets in the ground.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, thank you. I just want to say thank you, Don, because I obviously, you know, this is an important process, right? That we need to dispose of all of this waste that we all produce, right? And it has to go somewhere. I think for me, I just, you know, I thank you for the report that contains a lot of great information and the report that talks about just the assessment report that was put together by the contractor.
By Carla,
By-
our resources manager.
Yeah, and it was really, really good. So I mean, it gives us a really good understanding. Hopefully our residents have an opportunity to see it as well. I think for me, it's just, we're kind of in a situation where we wanna make sure it obviously costs us more because of the tonnage and now we have to dispose of it. And the hauling site is in Lost Hills. We don't have a hauling site that's close by. So as a city, we have our value statement, what Megan said as part of our general plan is that we wanna be good to our planet and we wanna make sure that we reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. So we don't have vehicles on the track, we don't have a lot of vehicles on the road, but we also have to look at the cost, right? Here is the cost is very high to be able to dispose it. We can't even dispose it here because we can't, the regulations don't allow us to, so now we have to haul it all the way to Lost Hills, which is, it's kind of,
For right now, we'll do another request for proposals
yeah.
coming up
See
and
if we
send
can
a
get
step
better
report
haul closer.
and shoot for beneficial reuse more local. But yeah, if it's $60 a ton, where we're taking it down, but it's $90 a ton to do a better job, that's a struggle. So hopefully we'll find the best of both worlds.
Yeah, well, just thank you. It was pretty enlightening for me, so thank you.
Okay, and then we have our council tour of the plant, April 12th again.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so with that, council, I'll entertain a motion to approve items 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So moved. Okay, I have a motion on the floor, second by Councilmember Caldera. The motion by Councilwoman Banuelos. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Any abstentions? Okay, so motion carries. Thank you, council, and thank you, staff, for the great reports. Okay, so we'll move on to our next item of business, and today we only have one business item, so. Yay, so, resolution number 6311, a resolution of the city council of the city of Soledad approving and accepting the 2024 general plan and housing annual progress reports and authorizing their submittal to the state of California Department of Housing and Community Development and the Governor's Office of Planning and Research. And this over to Lisa. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, council. We are presenting the item tonight regarding the submission for the 2024 general plan annual progress report and the 2024 housing annual progress reports to the state of California. One clarification regarding the annual housing or the general plan report. As of July of 2023, I believe, last year, the Governor Office of Planning and Research is no longer OPR. It is now the Office of Land Use and Climate Innovation, LCI. So that is a typo that we need to remove in the resolution for that reference. And that's because it used to always be OPR, and now it's LCI. So that is also something we need to change. So just as a brief clarification there.
Yeah.
So since 1969, the state of California has required all local government agencies to adequately plan to meet housing needs for everyone in the community. And also adopting plans to pretty much guide cities to meet specific goals. In this case, we have the general plan and the housing element. These documents pretty much lead the main document, the pathway to creating more housing and making sure land use is sufficiently planned. The general plan and housing element APRs are reports that provide information to the legislative bodies and about the progress made implementing most of the most recent general plan and housing elements. As we remember last year in August, we did adopt a new housing element, so that is what we will be reporting on. And then for the general plan, we still are reporting on our 2005 general plan until we adopt the new 2045 general plan. With these annual progress reports. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. For these general plan annual progress reports, there's no standardized formats of how they are submitted to LCI. Therefore, it is provided through Exhibit A for council review and consideration. The general plan APR's objective is to provide enough information to decision makers to help assess how the general plan is being implemented during the 2024 reporting period. It should also provide enough information to identify any necessary course adjustments. It's just a progress report of how the general plan policies are being implemented throughout the city's work. Throughout Exhibit A, there's specific land use policies that are from our 2005 general plan. And we summarize that in the staff report, where we're supposed to provide the 12-month reporting period and explaining how these land use decisions relate to the adopted goals and policies from the 2005 general plan. Some of the highlights include the continued work of the 2045 general plan called Siempre Soledad. As we briefly talked, it is expected to be adopted towards the beginning of 2026, so that's a little typo there, but again, that's the item that we just passed, council passed. In 2024, the city was also awarded $85,000 through REAP 2.0 to help accelerate housing production and facilitate compliance with the 6-cycle housing element. Majority of this work will be focused in downtown Soledad to help increase and increase density for housing and prioritize underutilized lots in downtown Soledad as well. In 2024, we continued the Front Street rehabilitation project in downtown Soledad by adding murals and enhance the downtown vibrancy. So there are specific policies in our 2005 general plan that we met by having those specific projects, that specific project. Furthermore, in 2024, we obtained a USDA Rural Administration grant of $50,000 to go towards the development of the shipping container village. So one of our general plan policies was to seek funding for projects that help help downtown Soledad be more vibrant. In 2024, we also continued the partnership with the SCDC to establish a satellite office for small business development center, the SCDC in Soledad. So it's also using resources from outside agencies to help local businesses here. We also worked to finalize a purchase sales agreement between Aga Development to purchase a 4.56 acre lot to create 100 affordable housing units. And this one specifically to housing, we will touch further in the presentation, how it also meets the housing element. We also obtained the ladder truck, or working towards the ladder truck between for CAL FIRE and the City of Soledad Fire Department. We also had a lot of progress moving forward with new commercial development such as Dutch Bros, Panda Express, which is now open, Tractor Supply, which is currently in construction. There is an application for a car wash at the marketplace as well, and also currently working for a Holiday Inn hotel towards Los Coches and Nestles Road. So that is some of the key projects that were started or continued from 2004 and are still moving or currently in progress now. In 2024, we also had a lot of Soledad Community Center improvements. It was a big year for the Soledad Community Center as well as the Exhibit A shows in their 2024 year in review. And then lastly, traffic management and enforcement engagement for the Soledad Active Transportation Plan, which includes the Safe Routes to School plan and then the launch of the MSC Circulator Bus. So a lot of improvements also occurred for circulation and traffic education for the city last year as well. And as you can see, the 2024 year review for the Soledad Parks and Rec Department really highlights a lot of their achievements, which we can report to the state and meet specific parks and recreation policies that are currently emphasized in our 2005 general plan. And as mentioned, commercial development was very successful in 2024. We're continuing to pursue economic development for the city. And then I'll pass it on to Beatriz for the next part of the report.
Thank you, Elena. And good evening, council, mayor. Just, I think for the record, Beatriz Trujillo, Community Economic Development Director. Now that we take care of the introduction, the annual progress report for the housing element. This is an interesting one because we have now officially adopted the new housing element, which will have our new regional housing allocation numbers. from 2023 to 2031. So that smaller table that you see to the right, that's the one that we are currently on. But I think it's important to also look at the previous cycle because we did not meet our RHNA numbers. So I'm gonna refer to the regional housing allocation number as RHNA. We did not meet our RHNA allocation in the last cycle. So our new cycle, you're gonna see that we have higher numbers because they don't necessarily carry over 1-to-1, but you will see that it's a larger number because we did not meet our previous designation. So one thing that I want to point out on this chart is that on the staff report, there was a mistake on the reporting numbers. We underreported, well, on the staff report, on the exhibit B, we have the right numbers. So I just want to highlight that. If you see that this table has a slightly different information from the one on the staff report, it was a mistake. But the exhibit B, which is the one that we will be submitting to the state, it has the right numbers, which are the ones that you see on the screen. So for 2024, last year, we were able to produce 4 low-income units, 10 moderate-income units, and 80 above moderate units. So that was a total of 94 units that were built last year. And we're making progress towards our RHNA allocation, even though right now it feels slow. It's also the beginning of the cycle. So I just wanted to show you a map of the upcoming projects so that you see that we have projects in the pipeline that it seems like a healthy pipeline that will help us actually achieve the RHNA numbers on this new cycle. So we have at least 10 projects in the pipeline, some smaller than others. The ones that are more development ready and that you can expect to see bringing before council soon will be Parcel E. Parcel B, 540 Gagland, and Almond Acres. So those projects, you will be hearing about those projects this year for sure. And one of the things that we are, I don't think in previous years we have reported extensively is about the implementation of the new housing programs. Since we have a fresh housing element, we're gonna start doing this so that we also think about the bigger picture, the different programs that we have, because as we know, housing is complicated and we need different strategies to be able to address the need. So some of the goals that we made progress towards our housing element were the housing goal number 1, which is adequate sites. We also made progress under new development and redevelopment, housing opportunities for all, and the removal of constraints, which are the goals that we outlined in our housing element. So the first one, adequate sites. One big accomplishment was the support from council to purchase 540 Gagland. We are aiming to at least we are gonna allocate this site. So now that we own this piece of property, we have more control about the type of development that we bring to the site. We want this development to be 100% affordable and to really target those low and very low income categories that are harder to produce otherwise. So as a city, we can incentivize the development by providing the adequate site for it. So we will be putting together an RFP hopefully soon in the upcoming future. And we aim to identify the developer for this site during this year. Another goal that we make progress towards is new development and redevelopment. This is through Ariana's hard work and the building department, the ADU plans. So we have pre-approved ADU plans. Last year, we hosted ADU workshops, bilingual workshops. And just last year, we provided 41 building permits for ADUs and 25 certificate of occupancy. So as Ariana mentioned, we also secured REAP 2.0 funding that is helping us reassess or is helping us work towards our upzoning in downtown, which will allow us to have higher density. And this is also goal number 2, housing opportunities for all. So this one is ongoing, and one of the accomplishments from last year was a partnership with the county to secure funding from the Encampment Resolution Fund. This was a population that it was really hard for us to serve without the adequate funding. So now that we have the funding allocated for this population, we expect to be able to complete the temporary interim shelter this year. And with that, we solve the riverbed encampment that we have. Of course, this will come with comprehensive supportive services, but at least we have started the work last year for that. We also have received direction from council to use some of our CDBG program income towards the first-time homebuyer program. So that's progress that we made last year. This year, we are planning to apply for the Home Supernova to try to maximize the funding that we have available for the first-time homebuyer program. So hopefully we're not speaking too soon, but we hope that this program comes into existence this year. And the other program is the removal of constraints. This was an amendment that was made to our parking standards in the location for emergency shelters. So this will allow us to actually have shelters in the industrial areas of town, kind of like a fast track to the emergency shelters. So this is part of the reason why we were able to identify 990 Los Coches as a potential location for the interim shelter. Another removal of constraints is the streamlining affordable housing. And in 2023, the city amended the inclusionary housing ordinance to allow private developers to partner with nonprofit agencies so that the nonprofit developers can actually produce the affordable housing. So this amendment happened in 2023, but we saw interest of 2 projects in 2024. So the changes applied in 2023 actually gave us 2 pipeline projects. And maybe I can give you a little bit more on the 2 pipeline projects. One of them is Parcel E, which the nonprofit developer is Eden Housing, and they're producing 40 affordable units, which is for low and very low. And then the other program, the other project that happened through this partnership, this type of partnerships, is Almond Acres, which is Nino Homes and Chispa. They're working on also a similar partnership. The other thing that we started in 2024 is that we submitted an application for the pro housing designation. We haven't received the designation. The state requested additional items from us, but we are in the process of trying to secure the designation so that by being pro housing, we can have access to the pilot incentive program, which they call PIP. That's additional funding for affordable housing. And with that, do you have any questions?
Sorry. Sorry. I was asking Megan, we're still pending that designation from the state. It's been a while. It's been a while. Yeah, I know she says there's still some criteria. Okay. So let me take it out to the public. So because it is a business item, and make sure that if there's any comments from the public. So, does the public have any questions on this item? Those that are joining us here in our chambers, in our interim chambers. Okay, seeing none, then anyone on the business item 1, anyone that's joining us on Zoom, if there's any questions or comments on the report that's been provided, please raise your hand. Okay, seeing none, then I will bring it back to the council if there's any questions, and I'll start with Councilmember Caldera, and we'll work our way to my right.
No questions.
Okay, Councilmember Marcelo Sanchez.
Big questions and comments, correct?
Yeah, we're doing work, since it's one item.
Can you all remind me what Almond Acres is going to consist of, or what we're planning for it?
Yeah, so Almond Acres, it's gonna have a component of market rate single family dwelling units. And then the affordable housing will be produced by Chispa, and this will be apartments, 12, it was gonna be 12, multi-family apartments. And then the single family dwelling units is gonna be 56.
56 or 57, yeah, around there.
But we haven't, and then Nino Homes is the proposed developer, correct?
Yes, they are the property owner, so they will be transferring the piece of land where the multi-family affordable units will be located. They will transfer that piece of land to Chispa. so that they can develop that.
And the project will be coming, it'll go to planning commission first for recommendation. To the city council, and the city council will have the final approval as it does require. The progressing tentative map that is approved to the city council. So the project will come. Right now, we're currently working on the environmental work. It is noticed, so there is a public notice for the initial study and notice of documentation.
To clarify, these are small lot, they're not the bigger lot, typical single.
That's great, because that brings me to my next comment. But if you would like to say something like.
Oh, and just to clarify, because there's mobile homes on that facility, so just for clarification, the mobile homes are gonna remain. So that way people don't think they'll be displaced, so it'll be, the development will be around the mobile homes, and the mobile homes will continue to be there.
That's a really great clarification, thank you. But it brings me to my other point that I am really glad to hear that, and I think as we're going into housing and new opportunities arise, I would really like to see like innovative outside of the box thinking so that we do hit our numbers, especially for like the lower affordable numbers. And I've said this in the past, but I'm really interested in seeing these smaller lot homes, and then also seeing what's out there. I know that there's a lot of different companies that do like construct model homes that are a lot smaller for smaller lot homes. I know that they've done that, I think, in the city of Chino Hills and in San Bernardino County. And I would really like to see any opportunity in the future when we do have other future development sites to see how we can partner with these sort of construction companies that kind of build and then bring them over. And I think it would be a good opportunity for someone that have their first home, you know, starting small, living on their own, couple with small children, stuff like that. And then outside of the housing, and then kind of getting back into parks and recreation policies for future parks, I would really like to see also, again, a little bit more innovation and outside of the box thinking, maybe modeling other communities that have like botanical gardens, for example, as their parks, something that folks can like want to spend more time that maybe don't have kids, or if they do have kids and want to take them to something new. Like I know that I see a lot of these like in San Francisco, San Jose, I think Carlsbad as well might have something like that where you can kind of go and like take pictures. It's cute, you spend the afternoon there. I know the folks that are seniors might have to like to be surrounded by something like that as well, if they're able to walk to, sit at and stuff like that. I think that it would be really nice as we're working for our general plan to have some sort of policies on like having parks that are a little bit more outside of the box as well, especially because we have so much open space in the city. And I think that's it, right?
Thank you.
Through the chair, one thing I did want to note to this council is that we spent a lot of time on a draft Parks and Recreation plan, and there were some we weren't entirely satisfied with the consultant. So Jessica and I have been working with BFS to help us with creating really much more neat in terms of park standards. And so that will be coming back probably in the summertime for you all to adopt. So you'll be able to look at that and provide feedback.
Yeah, thank you for that feedback, especially within our parks and housing. Thank you, Darlene. Mayor Pro Tem Cabrera.
Yes, I have couple of questions, comments. So I was wondering if there is any chance that we can look for developers not to build, not to make businesses, but to build commercial or office spaces, because we don't have any in Soledad. We are hoping to get businesses and like Panda Express to build their facilities, but if we had more spaces for people to come and just occupy those spaces, we could probably have more opportunities of that. And then if you want to ask, then I
Oh,
can ask a second question.
No, I just wanted to add that that's a great question, because as we see throughout and we analyze our zoning and we're going through the general plan process, we also have to think of how we can use our existing land more efficiently. So the general plan process now is helping us analyze those specific concerns of hearing the community that they want more office spaces, they want more commercial sites. And it's maybe taking some of the vacant land right now and rezoning it more for commercial as an option. So that's something we're currently looking at the new general plan update.
Because we always complain that there is not enough, like doctors or dentists. So, but they cannot come because there is no facilities to put it in. So that is one thing. And then I had a comment the other day about, I don't know if you could, check this out, but apparently, the city of Coalinga has some sort of, paintings in their parks that shows the sign language that people with disabilities are learning. And that is particularly in parks, so they can communicate, like, I wanna go again, and things like that. That are very helpful for the families. And they also use like QR codes to show that more information on that, so that families can learn as well and be able to communicate with their children, and the children can communicate back to other people, their children. And I wasn't able to do that research today, but if you can help with that, it will be really important that our children can have something like that in our parks, so they can be able to communicate to others and learn. Because if you can learn, I saw a little kid the other day going like this. And she said, that means I don't like it, I don't care. So it is important that we know a little bit. I remember one time, one of my friends, I was in a meeting, and one of my friends was say something, and I said like this, and that is thank you. And he started throwing me kisses, and I go, what? And the important is that I was communicating something that he cannot understand, right? So with our children with limitation, that would be a great opportunity. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilwoman Banuelos?
Ladies, first of all, thank you so much for the presentation, the slides, and even the paper ones too. I appreciate your, I just wanted to express that. I think he asked that question, Councilman President Santos. I love the idea of, maybe thinking out of the box when it comes to gardens, because it's important for health, self-help. It's important for mental health as well. But then he just echoed what I was just gonna ask in regards to commercial, because I love the timeline that was presented, because we are actually meeting these projects, and then small projects and little small lots that, are being presented. Housing is important, I understand that also, but also the commercial, and then also, trying to think out of the box in regards to other services, multi-services in regards to medical specialty clinics. We want to make sure we offer that here rather than people driving to Stanford, people driving to wherever. We wanted to have those services come in. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I want to say thank you, and I know as the plan to go back, we are reviewing to be able to approve and accepting the 2024 general plan and housing element progress report. So it's a combo of both, right? To be able to submit to the state. So I just want to, say thank you for the work that you guys have done. I'll focus, my comments in terms of, I'll probably be scattered, but let me start with what's new. I'll start with just a comment in terms of the commercial buildings, because we do have a lot in our older side of town that have been there. We don't own those buildings, but over obviously where a lot of the new development is happening, and it's looking at repurposing or working with the developers. It's like, what can we do, right? Because a lot of those I know with the Panda, we had to rezone it in order for us to allow for that to happen there several years ago. But it's, how do we address the other facilities that are next to it where there hasn't been anything done with the big carrot plant, right? And those big stacks is, you know, how do we work with them? What can we do? Because it's been there for a long time, and how do we look at repurposing that for more of the commercial that we want to see in that area? And I'm assuming those conversations are gonna be part of the general plan before we get it done next year, right? To see how we can move forward with that. But I think that's a big piece, because now that all the development is happening on the commercial side, on that side, and retail, to be able to look at what are the missing links to that space, so. And focusing now on the housing annual report, I just want to say thank you for providing this in a very digestible manner, with all the information. I won't address the 2022 annual progress report. Thank you for putting it there, but it's been, obviously it's been a heartache for me, because I know that we did not meet the RENA numbers, and I just want to make sure the council is aware that part of our obligations as part of the state regional housing needs assessment is that, these are minimum numbers, they're not even maximum numbers. And to be able not to even meet the RENA numbers for the last several years, and I don't even know the tables before that, whether we even met any of those, and I'm assuming that we probably didn't. So I think it's important to be able to look at what we have before us, and I know that with the adoption of the housing element, we actually have a lot of great strategies there to be able to meet some of the, especially the harder ones, as Beatriz said, with the very low and the low income, to be able to make sure that we're addressing those. And I know sometimes people could say like, hey, what about the rest of, the other income categories? But I want to make sure that our residents are assured that we've met the above moderate and the income moderate, where we have really fallen short for our community has been the very low and the low income for the past several years. So I'm glad to see that 540 Gavilan, finally, that we were able to buy that, because that gives us the opportunity as a city to, move those units and be in control of those units that we want to see developed, that are going to be focused on those units that are more harder to build. And then on the Almond Acres, thank you for sharing that in terms of how that's gonna help us to meet some of those RENA numbers under those categories as well. Ariana, I have a question on the H2 new development and redevelopment portion that you talked about. The 41 building permits, owner occupied, on the 41 building permits. So now, are those for the ADUs? Are those owner occupied or rentals? And I don't know if we can distinguish, because I've been hearing from a lot of the residents, I know we've been seeing a lot more of the ADUs that are being built, but the ADUs are still, in terms of the rents, are still really like expensive. And so I know we have talked about a rental database, so I know as part of what we want, I mean, at least of what we should start thinking in terms of how we're keeping track of a lot of these ADUs is I obviously want to make sure we don't have control. It's obviously a state mandate, but I also want to make sure that we as a city are keeping track of, like, is it our, owners that are owner occupied that are building these ADUs that are serving their children, their grandparents, or, or it's giving them an economic boost, right? Because they need it, or is it more investors that are investing and, they're buying these homes and now they have more income because now they have another unit that they can, put more people in there and get rent from it. And not that we control a lot of that, but we want to make sure that, we can tell the state the impacts, or we can at least tell our community, what is it that we're seeing in terms of some of those investments, or say, hey, what the ADUs are housing our families.
Yeah, I think, majority of the residents that do come into the office and talk about the ADU process and the construction process is to house a family member or, one of their parents that unfortunately doesn't have a place or cannot afford a place outside, from, their, the son's home. But there's also a handful too that are investors and are purchasing units in the city of Soledad and converting garage conversions in that for ADUs as well. But for the most part, I see that it's mostly residents trying to house family members. And that's through the of having with residents here in Soledad.
Okay, so maybe a combination.
It's a combination, but I can, we would have to really, see how we can obtain that information through the permits, though. It'll be something that we can work on to get more, specifically there.
Megan, if we were to look at, I mean, just, it would. For further discussion, not now, but I know we discussed the rental database and because, I mean, we're adding more, which 41 new units, obviously, in ADUs is pretty significant, right? To be able to have something that would give us more of an idea of how many units, how many rental units are being added and just having more control of those, that information for us.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to do a little bit of investigation and, even a lot of rental registries, exempt ADUs, but, we can take a look to see, what we can do, because as you mentioned, state law has really meant for these to be not regulated and, we don't collect, impact fees on those. But there might be some ways that we can anecdotally or look at when our builder, for example, permits or, that we could probably come up with that information, if not officially through a rental registration.
And I think also another key is that some of them may be JADUs, which require owner occupancy. And they do have to sign a affidavit saying that the lane owner has to live there. Again, that's something we aren't able to enforce, but it's some information that we do have as well.
Yeah. But are we do we have more of those being built as opposed to the single ADUs with the conversion of the garages?
We have mostly garage conversions being, just because it's more economic for those that are building, since the structure is already there, all they have to do is do a tenant improvement inside. When it's detached, we usually see residents building under 500 square feet due to the school impact fees that are triggered. If not, it'll be under 750 because then the city impact fees are triggered, which is a significant amount. Which goes from a permit from $4,000 to a permit to $20,000 to $30,000.
Wow. Well, thank you. Just for me, I know these are preliminary numbers. Obviously, we just adopted our housing element. So, we've done a lot of significant, and a lot of different areas in the general plan and also on the housing element. So I just want to say thank you. There's more to come, but given that it's our first report, I just want to say thank you.
Oh, and there's an action because we have to.
Yes. So council, then, no further questions. I will entertain a motion to approve resolution number 6211. So I have a motion on the floor, by Councilwoman Marcelo Sanchez and a second by Councilwoman Bermelos. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so motion carries. Thank you, council. So we are done with our items of business and now we thank you so much, Adriana, at least. So we'll move on to the reports at this time. And so. We'll start my report, but before you find me, our names are not, let me get ready. I think I have more announcements than I do on the reports, but. Okay, I'm ready. Ready? Okay. On March the 6th, I attended the Miramontes Specific Plan Workshop. On the March the 7th, attended the Memorial and Celebration Life. Pamela Bernard, who was an LSL teacher who dedicated her life to farming for students and opening opportunities to them, for them to go to college, many attending Ivy League schools. So it was an important recognition also for the celebration for Women's History Month. So I know Mayor Pro Tem attended as well. On the 8th of March, I attended the opening ceremony for Soledad Little League. So congrats to all the athletes, students, parents, coaches, and the board as well. Thank you, Councilmember Alfonso Sanchez, and obviously Councilwoman Banuelos was the MC, so it was nice to be there that day. We also, Councilmember Alfonso Sanchez and I also walked over to the Recreation Mission Girls softball team, who was also having their opening ceremonies that day. So congrats to them as well, and to all of their girls and their families as well. On the 10th of March, I met with Allison Campbell from the National Fitness Campaign to discuss grant funding for fitness grants at one of our local parks. I did talk to Megan. We'll work more with her to see if this fits within our park projects and how we can bring some fitness machines, murals, and some of that to our parks, with some of their support if it's possible. And then on the 12th of March, I attended the Soledad Unified School District meeting to present the proclamation for the 150 years of the schools in Soledad. On the 15th of March, I attended the History of Soledad Schools at the Soledad Historical Society Museum. Councilwoman Banuelos was also in attendance. On the 16th, I attended the 2025 All-Star Soccer Classic in Salinas. 6 of our high school soccer girls were part of the team, and one of our Soledad high school boys. So congrats to all of them, to their parents, and thank you for representing Soledad in a pretty awesome way. Mayor Pro Tem was also in attendance. On the March the 17th, I attended the Measure Q Oversight Committee. So I've been appointed to a Measure Q Oversight Committee, and this is for transportation of our seniors, veterans, and persons with disabilities. So at that meeting, we certified that all the funds that were used were used for its intended purpose. And this is part of the overall Monterey County Measure Q funds. And then on the 18th, which was yesterday, I wasn't able to go to the ribbon cutting because I was attending a work event in Madera, where the senator was part of an opening hospital, the Madera Hospital, which was really significant for our district. But I did stop by on my way back to congratulate Lorenzo Miguez, who's the owner of Panda Express. And so it was really nice to be able to see. By the time I got there, actually, there was some mariachi. So I got to order my Panda food and then enjoy some mariachi music. So I was really excited. And congrats to him and all the, over 45 employees. Everybody was so happy and excited, and we had a lot of community there. So it was pretty amazing to see. A couple of announcements before I finish is, on Monday, March 24th, Hartnell College and with CHP will be holding a Protector. So make sure this is traffic safety community outreach program for child safety, safety belt, restraints, dangers of impaired driving. So making sure that our community is aware of a lot of things that are happening. Also celebrating Women's History Month. We've been working as part of what Megan had mentioned last time with the Soledad Community Healthcare Center to hold an event here, which is going to be March 26th. It's open to all of our girls. Well, it's 30 girls, but it's open to our girls here locally. And it'll be held at Ida Valley Care Center in conjunction with some of our seniors as well. So this will also be on our website, all this information. And then I did get from Hartnell College, they're partnering with UFW. They're having a naturalization and DACA clinic that's going to happen April 5th at the Soledad here at Soledad Community Education Center. So there's a lot of information, a lot of great information, resources are coming. So please visit our website because they'll be posting a lot of that information on social media. So thank you. Did we go over? Yes. Okay. Thank you for allowing me some moments to go over because there was a lot of announcements. Okay, I will turn it over to Mayor Pro Tem Cabrera.
All right, so after our council meeting on the 5th, I attended as all of us the Miramonte worship on March 6th. Then on March 8th, I was not able to attend the ceremony, the opening ceremony for the baseball team show, but I spent a little bit of time after that watching a game that was interesting, really good. Then on March 10th, I attended the MSP board meeting. for the month of March. There is another meeting for the transit meeting, I think it is called, that is gonna, talk about SERV program. That is gonna happen to, Friday, more on Friday, so I'll be attending one of those. I also attended the All-Star Soccer Game luncheon on March 16. That was impressive. I actually had to do a translation in 20 minutes, a whole ceremony in 20 minutes, so I was working hard. And the day before, I helped in putting everything together there. On the 18th, I attended the Panda Express. I was able to do that in Cali, representing the city and our mayor, and our city council members. I'm sorry for calling you, for not remembering you like that. Yeah. And then, I also, visited, after the grand opening, I visited the Salinas operation, the MST, Salinas Operation Maintenance Facility, for their National Transit Employee Appreciation Day on Tuesday, March 18th. I was able to eat a couple of cookies and I will, that's pretty much it. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilwoman Rose.
Yes, March 6th, I also attended the New York work session, and also on that same day, it was Read Across America, so I was able to read to students at San Vicente School and also Catalan School. I also attended the Little League opening ceremonies on March 8th, and we wanted to also, along with Mayor Ana Velasquez and Fernando Gonzalo Sanchez, and I love, giving back to the community, even apart from my position now. I always give back, because this is where my heart's at, giving back to the community. On the 13th, I did attend the Soledad Cemetery Board. Stay tuned for April 26th. That we are going to have our community cleanup, so all of you guys are welcome to, help us, continue to keep our cemetery and our families that are there, good and keep it clean as well. And we want to also continue to give back to the community. On the 15th, along with Mayor Ana Velasquez, I did attend the Historical Society event celebrating 150 years of school education. I did have on the 15th, I also met with this Heritage Club of America. I also put an interest in these so that we are allowed to, partner up with this club, and I become a member as well. So this is going to be great for Soledad. And also I did do a phone briefing with Megan with our agenda for today, and also I did miss the cutting of the Panda Express, but I was there after to meet with Lorenzo, took pictures with also the contractor and the staff. So I shared those pictures with Jesus and Henry. And that's it.
Thank you. Turned over now to Councilmember Gonzalo Sanchez.
Great. Yes, so on March 5th, I attended a Read Across America event at Frank Ledesma, which was really nice and a little emotional for me. I got to read to a classroom that is taught by my former first grade teacher many years ago. And it was also the 1-year anniversary of my election that day, so it was really a nice full circle moment to be able to spend it giving back to the elementary school that I went to. On the 6th, I attended the Miramonte Specific Plan study session. On March 8th, I attended the Little League event. And then on March 10th, I attended the executive committee for the Salinas Valley Pride Board that I'm on. And then I was unable to make it to any events from March 12th through March 18th, as I was on holiday. on vacation, and I would like to state for the record that I am actually finally 30. Mayor Pro Tem is not in the room right now, but he always gets me, would say that I was 30 before I was 30, but yes, I am now 30, thank you. And then, I will hopefully get to go to Panda Express soon. I would have went yesterday, but I, got an allergic reaction from oysters, from being in Mexico, so there's that. And I believe that, oh, and then I do have one announcement, the Salinas Valley Pride Celebration 2025 Scholarship has opened, and the scholarship honors LGBTQ+ students and allies who embody Salinas Valley Pride Celebration's mission. Up to 5 scholarships of $2,000 each will be awarded, and the applications are due by May 31st. And anyone that is applying to college, either as a first year person to apply, or someone that's currently either enrolled in a 2-year or a 4-year institution from the Salinas Valley is eligible to apply.
Thank you. Councilman Caldera?
I have to apologize to the Little League. I could not make the opening ceremony this past Saturday. I did attend the AMBAG in Monterey, at the AMBAG meeting there, which a lot of interesting points there. I did find a couple of items that were kind of vested interest for Soledad. I know they were working on some items that the construction of the country roads, bike lanes and that sort of thing. And there was a couple items that were that they had on the list there on Bryan Canyon, and also Southern Center Road. They had some migraine plans. I did attend the Panda Express grand opening, the ribbon cutting, the 18th, as well as Mayor Pro Tem. I believe that's it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to our next item of business, which is city manager's report. So we'll cover, wow. I'll turn it over to our city manager.
Just a couple of reminders. On April 5th, we'll have our strategic planning session. It will be staff and council, and it's going to be in the community center. Where is it? Oh, it's gonna be here.
Right here.
Okay, so we'll be back in the room. We'll feed everyone, and then we'll probably have to create some time so we can go over to the SBC event. Council chambers, we are making great progress. The issue that we're having right now is just getting the audio and video equipment. There's some wiring that is also needing to be done. So we hope to be ready by the 16th, but it will kind of depend on equipment that's going to be ordered. So hopefully we'll be back there in the 16th. I did want to let you know too that we had a kickoff meeting today with the city of Gonzales to talk about the we are under contract with a joint contract to look at whether or not we're going to move forward with a bringing it to council for council consideration, I should say, parcel tax. So we're doing the pre-education work, outreach, kind of determining you know, what the community response is, and then we would come back and ask if council wanted to add it to the ballot, probably not until August. So you're gonna probably see some outreach, and we will, I'm sure I'll give you an update before then, and maybe even look to have some involvement from council. And then I think those are the primary things. I'll be sending probably a more lengthy report this Friday. And I appreciate your support of my time off too. So I'm coming out of the vacation fog and getting back refocused, but it's given me a lot of energy. So that's a positive thing. So thank you.
Thank you, Megan, we're happy to have you back. Okay, so we will move on to the next item, which is future agenda items, and I'll start with Councilmember Meadows.
None of this.
Okay, Councilmember, Mayor Potem Cabrera.
None.
Okay, Councilmember Gonzalez Sanchez. Councilmember Caldera. Okay, and I don't necessarily have an agenda item, Megan, but I do want to say, first of all, I want to thank you for working with our police department and code enforcement. I know a resident, might have talked about it today, about the vendors, but on Friday, I think it was Friday last week, when I was coming back into Soledad, I did see that the vendors that are out in outside of Soledad coming in, one of them was back again.
Okay.
So, I know that you guys have been working to try to get that situation rectified, but just so you know that one of them, we saw one back again. Okay, so that's, I just wanted to, share. Okay, so with that, if, no further items of business, then we adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everyone.